Okay, so we're going to continue Masechet Shabbat. We are on Daf Hey Amud Aleph. In the art scroll, we're on top of page 5A-3 at the start. Just to fill us in from where we were last time, just so we can have a coherent understanding of the Gemara. Last time we dealt with the question. The Mishnah said that if someone places something into someone's hand, or if someone takes something out of someone's hand, it is a legit akira and hanacha. Akira is uprooting something from its place at rest, and hanacha is placing something to rest. And the Gemara's question was: we have a teaching that something can only be considered at rest or being uprooted from a state of rest if it was on something that is arba al arba, 4 tvachim by 4 tvachim, which I think reaches out to like 32 centimeters by 32 centimeters. It has to be some sort of significant platform. The way Taisus understands it is that someone would not place something on something smaller than that because it's not going to stay there. It's going to fall off. It's not stable enough. It's not significant. And so how can the Mishnah say that placing or taking from a hand is considered akira ma'anacha? So the Gemara went through many different ways to try to prove that it is, or who holds like that. And in the end of the day, we had a teaching from Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan taught a person's hand is treated as a 4 by 4 tefach area for halacha, and it would make sense according to Tosfot because no one will place something on less than 4 by 4 because it's not stable there. But one of the amazing parts of a hand, it has opposing thumbs, which is able to grasp and hold on to something. And so since it can hold something safely, turns out it is considered a place that you place something to rest, and something is taken away from the state of rest. So an akira and anacha can happen from a hand. So now we're on 5A-3, and the Gemara continues, really part of the previous sugya. Amr Rav Avin, Amr Rav Eli, Amr Rav Yochanan. A person is throwing something from one reshut to another reshut, right? From a reshut rabim to reshut yachid. And there is a person standing in the reshut yachid, and he's just standing there, and his hands are open. And the ball, or whatever he's throwing from the reshut rabim, goes straight into that guy's hand. The person who threw it is going to be hayav. Why? He did the akira. He lifted it up from his reshut, and he threw it into another reshut, and it fell into this guy's hand. So who did that akira? Who did that nacho? The thrower. He did everything. The other guy didn't do anything. He just stood there. My kamashmalan. What is he teaching us with this case? A hand of a person is treated like a 4 by 4 tefach area, significant placement area. Where it says, but Rabbi Yochanan already taught this one time. Why is he teaching it again? We just saw it last time. Why are we saying teaching it again? Same exact din. So ma who did tema? Hani mili hechida achshava hu lide. Ava hechad the loy achshava hu lide emalo. Mashmalan, it is. What's the Gemara saying? I might have thought it's only in the case of the Mishnah where someone is placing into someone's hand or someone's taking it from someone's hand. So the fact that he's placing it deliberately or removing it deliberately, that is showing he is doing an akira and an anacha, and he's giving the hand significance. But perhaps if I just threw it and it fell into someone's hand, I never wanted it to go into the guy's hand. It was going to fall where it was supposed to fall, and it just happened to go into his hand. Maybe I didn't give significance to his hand. So this teaching is come to tell us it doesn't make a difference if your thought gives it significance. That doesn't make a difference. The fact is, a hand is considered a significant area, like a dalid by dalid. And so if it goes in there, it's a hanacha, and if it's picked up from there, it will be considered a legit halachic akira. That is that first piece of Gemara. So now comes the question. Here we go. So the other guy is throwing it from the Reshut Rabin to Reshut Yachid. The guy is standing there, and he just went into his hands. So then what? The guy who throws it is going to be chayav. because it landed in the guy's hand, so it's hanocha in another reshut. Al karmim karma v'kibal. If one guy threw it, and the other guy who's coming to catch it is actively pursuing the ball, or whatever it is, right? He's going out of his place to get it, then potter. Why? The guy who threw it with the akira. The guy who caught it, right, and didn't let it finish its trajectory where it's to land, he did a hanacha. So then it'll be potter. Tami nami hachi, acher moimrim, alma become v'kibo, chayev. The guy was just standing there and he got it. The guy who threw it is going to be chayev. If the guy who's catching it went out of his place to go catch it, potter, then the person who threw it is potter. So now, Rabbi Yochanan's question. Boy, Rabbi Yochanan, Zarak Chayfetz, V'ne'ekar hu, Mimkoimoi, V'chazer V'kibloi, Mahu. All right, case is a little different. The guy threw it, and it was going, and it will land on the floor somewhere. But this guy, super fast, and he runs, or he throws it up, whatever. He has time to go around and catch it. So, but he's catching it by pursuing it, not just standing there, and it happens to go into his hand. He's pursuing it. So he's stopping it from what its original stop would have been. So Yochanan's question is, it's one guy doing everything. So we can say it's one guy and he's chayav, or do we say since the original hanacha would not happen anymore because he is stopping it, he's actively pursuing the ball, and therefore it should be considered like two people, and he should be potter. So a question: what's the actual question? He's asking about two different kochot in the person. Do we say, listen, at the end of the day, it's still one person, even though it's two different kohot? Or do we say, listen, the guy is doing two different people's jobs. He's doing a thrower's job and he's doing a catcher's job, and he's going out of his place to catch it. So, dummy upater. So the Gemara says, Teku, we're not sure. Let the question stand, but halacha, we can't let a question stand. So the Rambam gives his opinion on this halacha. So the Rambam psak on this halacha is as follows. Okay, here. Zarak v'ratz l'zoynik atzmo acher hachepetz v'kiblu b'yodeh b'reshus acheres achutz la'arba. Amois potter is potter. The guy who throws it is the guy who's catching it. Ki'ilu ne'ekar echer v'kiblu. It's like someone else went after it to get it. Shein hanocha gemura ad sheinu hachepetz l'mokum shayol lo l'noach bo b'shas akira. Because since the ball or whatever, it didn't fall in the place it should have fell when it got first thrown, so therefore it's considered a second koach, and therefore it would be potter. And the Maggid Mishnah explains the Rambam as follows. Says the Maggid Mishnah, behind Kivan Gemara Nishar B'Shayla Zobiteku. Since Gemara leaves this off at the Teku, became Darka V'Chach Darka Shel Rambam, and the derech of the Rambam is the way the Rambam paskins. Shukater Potter B'Makom Teku. Wherever it says Teku, the Rambam says Potter of Alasser. Right, and he brings this from the Maggid Mishnah. Okay, so it's an important rule in the Rambam. That's the halacha on that case. Okay, next case in the Gemara. Amr Ravin, Amr Yochanan. Hechnes yadoi l'teichater chaveroi v'kibul mi'geshamim v'hoitzi chay. Says Ravin in the name of Yochanan. And the guy standing in the Reshut Rabim, and he puts his hand into his neighbor's yard. Right, so he's putting his hand into Rosh Yachid, and then he accepts rainwater in his hand. And he takes it out. Now he's chayav. Why? He did an akira. He took the water there, right, and he bring it out. Should be chayav. The Gemara says, "What? Matzah of zera? Ma li hitino havero. Ma li hitino shamayim. Ihu lo avid akira." There was no akira in this case. It says vikibo. Someone put it in his hand, whether it was the rainwater from heaven, or someone else put it in his hand. He never did an akira. So how could he be hayav? He never did an uprooting. It was placed into his hand. He didn't uproot it. So the Gemara says, like tema kivo ela kolat. Don't say he received it, rather he collected rainwater. The Gemara says, one second. How is he collecting it? In the ear? In order to be collected, in order to be akira, it has to come from a state of rest. It has to be on at least an arba al arba. So he cannot be collecting it and deflecting the water in the air into his hand and say, "Oh, I collected it now. That's an akira." It's not an akira. It has to come off from a place of rest. You know, he's the rain is on the wall, right? The wall has a 4x4, and he's wiping it from the wall, putting it into his hand, wiping it into his other hand. The Gemara says, "Well, I got kotel nami. What do you mean? On the wall, the water you put rainwater on the wall, the rainwater continues to go down. It's not stuck on that spot, so it never was at rest." So the Gemara says, "You know what? We're talking about a case of a sloped wall. Just like Rava's case was about a sloped wall, so to here is a case about a sloped wall. What does the sloped wall help? So if you have a wall on a slant, you can possibly say the rainwater is somewhat at rest over there, right? Similar to Rava's case of a kotel meshupa. So the Gemara wants to know, what is Rava's case, and can it really be compared to rainwater on a wall, even if it's a sloped wall? So v'heiche itmar de Rava. Where did Rava give his explanation? Aha, ditnan. Based on a Mishnah that we learned in Masechet Eruvin. What was the Mishnah? All right, interesting. Haya koreh besefer al ha-iskupa. The guy is sitting on a threshold, right, by his door. It's an elevated threshold, 3 tvachim off the ground at least, and it has a makom over there, 4x4. So it is going to be a carmelit. So he's sitting in a carmelit, in a Reshut Rabim D'Rabanan. So it's not a Doraita issue. And while he's sitting there, he's Koreh B'Sefer. He's reading a Sefer. Sefer, in the olden days, books were like scrolls. So he's reading from a scroll. And as he's reading it, he's holding one part of the scroll, and the other part rolled down, and he rolled into the Reshut Rabim. Remember, he's standing in the threshold of his house, but it's a Carmelit, the Rabbanan issue. And it's falling into the Reshut Rabim, and he's holding the other hand. Outside of the Sefer, the halacha is go lilo etzlo. He's allowed to roll it back to himself. Okay, he's allowed to roll back to himself. Number one, there is no doraita issue here, and number two, you're dealing with a with the covet of the Sefer, so therefore you're allowed to bring it back. Another case, person is sitting on the roof. Okay. So a roof of his house, if he's sitting on it, that's a Reshut Yachid, right? It's all Reshut Yachid. And what happens when it's Gagel HaSefer miyado? And he's sitting on his roof, and the Sefer is holding the scroll, and it rolls out of his hand. He's holding part of it, and the other hand came out. And outside of his house is a Reshut Rabim, right? Okay. When it's Gagel HaSefer miyado. If it's on top of 10 tfachim from the ground, that's going to be called a makom patur, right? The Reshut Rabim is from the ground, 10 tefachim up. After that, it's considered makom patur. So if it's in a makom patur, in an exempt area, then what? No doraita issue here. Gol elo etzlo. He can bring it back to himself because it's no doraita issue. Mishehegia la'asarat tefachim. But if it was within 10 tefachim of the ground, so now it is in the Reshut Harabim. So now he can't do anything with it. He should turn it the other way so his letters are not facing the sun, okay, and not facing the sun shouldn't get ruined. And that's what he does. So regarding this, we ask the question of Havinanba, why does he have to only turn it over? Why can't he take it back, even to within 10 tefachim? Halonach, it was never at rest. It's dangling in midair. If it's dangling in midair, and it did not come to rest, then there's no doraita issue because it's not doing an akira and hanacha. It's still in the other guy's hand. He just needs to roll it back. It never rested in the Reshut Rabim. Halonach. So you know what the case is? The case is it did come to rest. Bekoto meshupa. There was somewhat of a slanty wall, right? And when it fell down, it's on this slanty wall. So it's not dangling; it's on a slanty wall in the Shabbat, and therefore it's considered at rest, and therefore it's a doraita issue. Therefore, he cannot bring it back up. He'll just turn it around, and that's it. So maybe our case as well. The rainwater is on a sloping wall, and it's considered somewhat at rest. Whereas even though Rava said this, but safe for David Denaich. Yeah, right, a book. Yes, regarding a scroll. Because there's friction there, there's traction. It will stay on this sloping wall. Mayim mi avidi denaichi. Does water ever come to rest on a sloping wall? So it cannot be the case that he's taking the rainwater from the wall. So where did Yochanan say this case that if he collected rainwater and he takes it out from one shul to the other shul, he's going to be hayav? It cannot be that current rain, and it can't be rain from the wall, it can't be rain from a sloping wall. Okay, there is a hole in the ground, and in the Reshut Yachid, and the guy is staying Reshut Rabim, and in the hole there's water, and he goes and he collects water from that hole. So he's doing an akira, right? So guma pshita, or says, of course, he's taking it from the wall, from the hole, then he's uprooting it. So malu the table. What you would have thought? 1 second. What's really at rest in the water? Maybe it's only the water that's touching the ground that's at rest. The water that's on top of water is not at rest. It's floating on top of other water. Malu the table. Maybe water on top of water is not considered at rest because it's moving around. It's not on the ground. Mashallah, you're going to hold. No. The whole water is considered at rest. And Rava goes according to his reasoning. Water on top of water is considered at a state of rest. But what happens if I have a walnut on top of the water? Egos. Lo hainu hanahato. But a walnut on top of water is not considered at rest. The walnut is floating. It's not in a state of rest. It's moving around. Even though we hold the water to be at rest, the walnut on top of it is not considered at rest. So if you picked up the walnut, he will not be hayah for it because it was never at rest. So boy, Rava says, I have a question. What happens in egos bichli? Okay, I have here this water. All right, the water you consider halachically at rest. Then I have a floating bottle, a floating cup, whatever you want to hold it. Okay, and the cup is like the walnut in the previous case, which is it's not at rest. What happens if I have a walnut inside the cup? So the walnut is resting peacefully in the cup. The cup is floating about in the water. So is the egos considered at rest because it's resting in the cup? Or is the egos not considered at rest because it's floating around in the water, but not on itself, but by the cup that it's in? That was Rava's question. Ego is the kli. Uchli saf agabi mayim. Batari goes as lina. Do we go according to the state of the nut, the hanach, and it's resting peacefully in the vessel? Well, then batar kli as lina. Do we say it's part of the keli and the haloi naich dinayin, and the vessel is not at rest for it's moving in the water? So the Gemara leaves it at a teku. We already saw what would the Rambam hold in this case. The Rambam would say that it is what? That it is teku. Teku would be potter. Let me just see if I can find this. Go. Hold on. Okay. All right. Avo emahi keli tzaf agavi mayim upeiros b'toicha keli upashad yadai v'lokach min haperes v'hotzi patur. If he took the peri, the fruit, the nut, from the cup that's inside the water that's floating around, then he would be potter. And this is again from the Rambam. And since the Gemara left it at a teku, the Rambam always writes potter when it is a teku. That's what the Maggid Mishnah says. So again, in this case, the Rambam is viewing it as potter because the egos in the keli is considered at moving and not at rest. The Gemara brings an interesting comparison to this halacha. Shemen shetzav al gabe yain. If you have what is this? Oil floating on top of wine. You use oil on top of water. Oil also floats on top of wine. So there's a Mishnah in Tevul Yom that has a similar halacha, viewing either what's on top of it as part of it or what's on top of it as separate to it. What's the story? The Tanan. Machlok Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri v'Rabbanan. The Tanan. Shemen shetzaf agabe yayin. Oil on top of wine. V'naga Tevul Yom b'shemen, and a Tevul Yom touches the oil, do not touch the wine. Like pasul el shemen milvad. According to the Rabbanan, you only pasul the shemen and not the wine. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer shnei mechuberim zeh lazeh. Both of them are what's it called? Going to become tamei. So Rabbi Yochanan views it as the wine and oil is one thing. Every touch the oil, the whole thing becomes. And the Rabbanan say no, each one is separate. The rabbis consider two liquids as separate. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri considered two liquids as one. Accordingly, the rabbis would compare oil floating on a wine to a nut floating on water, and exempt one lives the oil from on top of the wine. For neither the oil or the not on the oil or rest, because they're on top of the wine. The Nuri would hold him liable if we compare oil floating on wine to floating on water, and both the water and the oil are at rest. So if I have, in this case, basically saying as follows: if I have oil on wine, and he picks up the oil from on top of the wine on Shabbat, is it considered hayav or not? Remember, if water is on top of water, you're not. It's all considered at rest, and you are chayav. So if it's all considered one, you're going to be chayav, like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. If we say that it's the oil is just floating on top of the wine, so then the oil is not at rest, and then you would be patur. So according to the Rabbanan, you would be patur. How does the Rambam see this halacha? Just 1 second. Rambam sees this halacha as follows: Shemen shetzaf al gabe yayin, on top of a wine, v'naga tful yayin b'shemen, and he touches the shemen like pasul el shemen. He gets only the oil tamei. Only the oil is tamei because the oil is separate. The oil is a separate entity. So same thing over here. It would be considered a separate entity, and it'll be floating on top, and he would be okay. Next case. Amar Rav Avin, Amar Rav Eli, Amar Rav Yochanan. Haya ta'un ochalim umashkin. V'nichnas v'yetze kol hayom kulo. Ein hayav ad sheyamot. All right. This Gemara needs a little explanation, so we'll give it. A guy, just for our understanding. A guy is in his house and he has a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever he drinks. He's eating a sandwich, whatever you want it to be. Okay? And he picks it up in his house to walk around in his house and eat his sandwich, drink his tea. And while he's doing it, for the sake of our case, somebody calls him outside, not realizing he walks out with his tea and his coffee. Okay? He's not going to be hayab. Why not? Because his initial akira was done with the intention to walk around his house. It was not done with the intention to do the malacha of hotza'ah. And since our malachas require malechet machshevet, it requires thoughtful malacha, calculated malacha. In order to be chayav, he would have to have done the akira with the intention to doing the hotza'ah, to take it out of the house. And since that's not what he did, he'll be potter. Now, if he went outside now, right? So he's potter, even if he stops. He did an anacha. Because an akira is not a real akira. But now if he starts to move again, right? And he stops again, now he would be chayav. Why? Because now he's moving outside. And now he's doing the 4 amot, or he's going back inside, wherever it is. Now he did an akira and an hanacha, and he would be chayav. So let's read it again. Amar Rav Avin, Amar Rav Yochanan. Someone who got laden with him food and drink, and he was meaning to walk around in the house. And he went walking in and out all day long with the initial attention that he didn't want to do a real akira, and he doesn't stop, He's not chayiv until he stops and starts walking again and stops again. Then he would be chayiv because then he did an akira of anacha for the malacha of hotza'ah. Yeah, Amar Abaya. What type of stop is this? V'husha amad lafush. And this is only true if he stood still to rest. Meaning, if he did the initial akira, and he walks out, and now he stops, and then he starts to walk again. Now he can be chayiv after that, right? That's only true if he stops to rest. But if he stopped just to adjust, he's just wants to fix his cup, or he just wants to, redo the sandwich the way he's holding it. So then he would still be patur. Mimai, how do we learn this? Mid'amar mar, from what we learned from Rabbah. What did he say? Toch arba amot. Let's say the guy walked 2 amot, right? In order to be hayav in the Rashut Rabim for walking and carrying something, you have to walk 4 amot. So the guy just walked 2 amot, all right? And then he stopped. Amad lafush patur. If he stopped and rested, so he's carrying his cup, he walks 2 amot, stops. He rests. He walks another 2 amot, stops. He rests. He's going to be patur. Why? He never walked 4 amot. He's always stopping in between. But if he just stopped to fix his bag, and he walked 2 amot, fix his bag, 2 amot, he walks back, then he'll be chayav because he didn't stop to rest. He stopped to fix his cup, his bag, whatever it is. So therefore, he would be chayav. The other way around. Chutz la'arba amot. If he's already walking 4, he's already walking 4 amot, right? But he didn't stop yet. If he stops, amad lafush chayav. So if he stops to rest, he chayav. L'chatev patur. But if he just stops to fix his bag, it'll be patur because he never actually stopped. You only be chayav after you walked 4 amot and then you stopped. You did an akira to start walking. You started walking. You walked the 4 amot, and then you came to rest. Then you be chayav. So if you never came to rest because you're just fixing your bag and continue to walk, you won't be chayav. You would be patur. So what's the main thing here? Because the akira was not the original situation. When he wanted to walk around his house with his food, he didn't have an idea to do an akira, to do hotza'ah. So therefore, he would be a patur. Now the Gemara wants to know why I need to learn this from there. Rabbi Yochanan, who said in his name, yeah.
So initially, when he walked out from his house or whatever, he did not have the machshava, so he's patur, correct?
Correct.
So once now we're on the streets, let's say, and he's walking 4 steps or the rest, where does the machshava comes in to make him liable? He's still even if he walked, he wasn't aware of what he's doing. The machshava never kicked in.
Okay. So you're saying he doesn't have machshava what he's doing at all?
Yeah, but did he had enough time to realize that what he's doing is incorrect?
Right. So the Gemara is saying it's not the fact that he didn't have machshava, like he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. The first case is where he didn't intend to walk outside. He knows he's picking it up, moving around. He just never thought he's walking outside. Once he walks outside, he knows he's carrying the thing, right? If he comes to rest, right, he stops to stop, right? Not just to fix the cup. And now he starts walking again. Now he'll be chayav because he knows what he's doing. It's not that he doesn't know he's carrying. He doesn't know Shabbat. He knows the Shabbat. He knows he's not allowed to carry. The initial case was he was thinking, I'm carrying only inside. The next time he's already outside. Now he's moving because he rested. He'll be chayav. If he didn't rest, then he just continued walking in and out, and he never rested, he would be patur because the initial akira was done with no machshava to do the malacha of hotza'ah. But if he rested and now he continued, now he did the akira, and he knows he's doing hotza'ah. Does that explain it?
Thank you.
Okay. So very good. So where are we? So now the main idea was, since he started the akira without the uprooting, without the machshava to do hotza'ah, he'll be pater. So Gemara says, why have to learn this from here? Rabbi Yochanan chadazimna, we're on 5B3. Rabbi Yochanan chadazimna. The Amar Rav Safra, Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Yochanan. If a person is moving things from one corner to another corner of his house, and then afterwards he changed his mind and he ended up walking outside, but the same akira from when he was walking around in the house, potter. Because His initial akira was not done to do the malacha hotzah. So why do I have two different teachings of Yochanan teaching the same exact thing? So Amorai Ninhu, Yochanan taught the principle, and his two students who are Amoraim, Rabbi the Gemara, Rabbi Eli and Rabbi Ami, Mar Amallah Halishna, or Mar Amallah Halishna, each one taught it in its own way, the same thing that the rabbi taught. Therefore, you have two cases about the same thing. Okay, one more case, Rabotai. One more case, and we will call it a day. It's a few more lines. You can get to the next page, but let's see over here. Tanu Banan, Hamotzi Mehanut Leflatya Derech Sitav. All right, simply put, back in the days of the Talmud and in Rome and in Greece, this is the way in the Middle East, this is the way they had stores. They had the store, and then they had an area in front of the store where they would put the merchandise on, like a bench. And then the Shut Rabim was after that. So you have the stores of Shut Yachid. You have the bench area, which is going to be a Carmelite, which is technically a Makom Patur. Okay, from the Torah, it's an exempt area. It's not a Shut Rabim, not Shut Yachid. It's an exempt area. And then you have the Shut Rabim. So our story here is the guy is taking something from the store, from Shut Yachid. He's bringing it into the marketplace, onto the street, into the Shut Rabim, but he's going via this bench area. So he's stopping at a makom, not stopping. He's going through a makom patur. So again, he's taking it out of Shut Yachid, going through a Carmelite, going through a makom patur, and then he's going to a Reshut Rabim Hayab. In the end of the day, he's going from Reshut Yachid to Reshut Rabim, so he's going to be Hayab. Uven Azai Poter. Ben Azai says he's Poter. Now, Bishlama Ben Azai, everything makes sense according to Ben Azai. Why does Ben Azai say he's Patur? He has a shita, which we're not going to deal with right now, but his idea is that when you're walking, you're resting. Every step is another rest. And as such, I'm going from a Reshut Yachid to a Carmelite, to a Makom Patur. And I'm going from a Makom Patur to a Reshut Rabim. And none of those are a Deoraita, so I can't be Hayab, therefore I'm Patur. Patur of Alasar, obviously can't do it, but you're not going to be Hayab Chatat. Because I'm going from Reshut Rabim, and every step is considered a rest. And then I went into a Carmelite or Makom Patur, and then from Makom Patur, I went to a Reshut Rabim. So therefore, it's going to be Patur. El Banan. But according to the rabbis, we don't pass him this way, that every step is considered another rest. So, Nihi Nami Diksari Mehalach Lab Ka'imidami. We say that walking is not considered as stopping, but do you ever find a case where you go through a makom patur, a place that you're not chayav for, and then you can be chayav when you go to Shut Rabim? Since in the middle, I went to a place that I cannot be chayav for, so maybe I should be patur. Do you ever find a case where I go through an area that's not chayav, and then I am chayav afterwards? So you never find such a case. The Gemara says, oh yeah, there is a case. So it's going to give us a few. Now, cases, not everything's going to work. We're going to have the last one that's going to work. So, Amr Safra, Amr Abi, Amr Yochanan. Here's the case. Me, the other, Amar, Rechem, Rosh Hashanah. Ha'atam lab, Afal Gab, the Kama, the Noket Lev, Azal Potter. Kimonach Lechayev, Achinami, Loi, Shana. The Gemara says, I'll tell you. Here's the case. The guy's walking with something, holding something in the Reshut Rabim. So he's walking 4 amot. And once you get to 4 amot, if you put it down, you're hayab. But he's walking 25 amot. So all that from 4 to 25, he's potter on, right? He's potter on. He's what's it called? He already walked the 4, so he's hayab, and then he's potter, and then he puts it down. He's hayab. So you'll see, you can walk through a potter different place, and then you can still be hayab afterwards. The question is, what are you talking? Me dummy. Hatam kohechid demonach lemikol chiyuv. The Gemara says, what are you talking about? The guy walked 4, he walked 5, he walked 6, and he put it down. He walked 7, he's chayab. You walked 8, he's still chayab. I don't care you walked 25. That's not considered a part of the place. It's a chayab of the place because you already walked 4. So what's it called? It can't be compared to the bench area because if I put it down on the bench, I am potter. It's a makom patur. I am potter. So you cannot compare it to that. Gemara says, okay, Ela, you're right. Mida hava mavir chevet mitchil arba l'seif arba. Also, mafagav the monach lebetoich arba amos potter ki monach lebetoich arba amos chayim achinami loishan. Whereas, you know what? Let's compare it to this case. The guy's walking exactly 4 amot in the Reshut Rabim with something in his hand. So if he stops at 2 amot and he puts it down, he's going to be potter. He never did the 4 amot. If he walks 4 amot and he stops to put it down, then he's going to be chayav. The same thing here, right? He walks through the bench, he's potter, and then he walks a little more, he's going to be chayav. So you'll have a case where you go through a potter to a place, and then you're chayav. Where it's just, again, you cannot compare it. Stop with the Reshut Rabim business. Why? Me dummy. Hatam legavi the hagav makom through. There's a big difference. By the bench area, anyone who puts it down is going to be potter there because it's a makom patur. But this place, the guy walks within his 4 amot of Reshut Rabim. For him, yeah, he's potter there. Anyone else who walked more and ended up in that spot will be chayav. The spot itself is not a makom patur. He happens to be within 4 amot, so he puts it down. He's potter, but not that the spot is potter. Here, by the bench area, the area itself is potter, so it's not comparable. The Gemara, you know what? I'll give you another example, and this is one that works. Mi di da hava moitzi reshut yachid reshut rabim derech stay reshut rabim. Hatam lav afagav dei manach leyatzed reshut rabim patur v'chimanach reshut rabim chayav hachinami lo shana. Okay, so here's the example. We're dealing with the sides of the reshut rabim. What are the sides of reshut rabim? Put it simply as follows: your house is the reshut yachid. Your property outside your house until the public place is called sadeh Reshut Rabim. The sides of Reshut Rabim. Why? If you don't have to gate it, right? You don't have a gate around your house on the front porch. Sometimes when there's a lot of traffic, you walk with the kids and all that. People walk on your grass. It's sadeh Reshut Rabim. Okay, so if I take something outside my house and I'm in this again. Halachically might be not exactly the way I explain it, but for our illustrative purposes to understand it, if I take it outside my house and I'm in the Tzadeh Reshut Rabim, I'm potter for taking it there because it's not really Reshut Rabim yet. Until I arrive to level, it's not Reshut Rabim. Until I bring it to the street. Now I put it in the street, it's going to be Hayat. So I have this Makom, that's Patur also. My Reshut Yachid. I go through Makom Patur, which is the Tzadeh Reshut Rabim. Then I put it in the street, and I'm Hayat. So this case works. This case is an example like that. So Mask Rav Papa, Hanich Rav Papa says this is very good according to the rabbis that learned this way. The Amar Tzadeh Reshut Rabim, Lav Reshut Rabim, who say the sides of Reshut Rabim is considered Makom Patur. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, the Amar Tzadeh Reshut Rabim, Reshut Rabim Dami. He holds no. The size of Reshut Rabim is actually a real legit Reshut Rabim. Then what can be said? Because he's going straight from Reshut Rabim. It's not a Makom Patur. When did you hear? Rabbi Eliezer said that the sides of Reshut Rabim, the outside of your house, is considered like Reshut Rabim. That's if there's no obstructions, no pegs, no small gates, no bushes, or something like that. But if there are some poles or obstructions, then it's not going to be a Reshut Rabim. Even according to him, it will be a Makom Patur. Therefore, the case works. So this guy, I have some pegs around it. So still during high traffic, someone will walk there. It's considered Tzadeh Reshut Rabim, but it's considered a Makom Patur. So I take it out of my house. I go through this Tzadeh Reshut Rabim, this Makom Patur, and I put it into Reshut Rabim. It's going to be Hayat. So same thing this case. The store, the bench area, and the Reshut Rabim, it'll be Hayat. Just Yohanan. Now Ben Azai said, when every step you walk, it's as if you're at rest. So therefore I'm resting in the Carmelit, in the Makom Patur, going to Reshut Rabim. Therefore I'll be potter. That's true for walking. But Bizorek, if he threw it from the store to the Reshut Rabim, then he'll be chayav because it never rested in the Makom Patur. If he takes it out from the store to the Reshut Rabim, or from the Reshut Rabim to the store, whether he throws it or whether he hands it over. If he takes it in and out he'll be potter because he's walking through Makom Patur, and every walk is considered a rest. But when one hands it over or throws it from one, then he'll be hayav because it never was at rest in the Makom Patur. Okay, so that is the Gemara for this week. Next time you learn, it's going to be defining the 4 rishiot of Shabbat, the 4 domains of Shabbat. So we'll have a clear understanding of what we're saying when we say Rish Yachim, Rish Lebam, Makom Patur, and a Carmelit. Hopefully, we'll have a better understanding at that time. Okay, Yasher Koyach L'Kulam, Shabuah Tov.
Thank you.